When a great band like Protector puts out an incredible release like Excessive Outburst of Depravity, and then says that they will never play outside of Europe, you have to wonder why, don't you? Well, I wondered why, so I took it to vocalist Martin Missy himself and found out on this edition of Chris Akin Presents. It is Chris Akin Presents, and I, of course, am Chris Akin, and today I'm going to be presenting a old school heavy band, one of these great bands that I love so much. As you guys are well aware, they can't make it heavy enough for me to listen to. I love it. The band is Protector, and they have a brand new release called Excessive Outburst of Depravity, and boy, is it! It is a serious thrashy / deathy type of a metal record. These guys, if you know anything about heavy metal history, they are certainly underground favorites and have been forever. And here to talk about forever as well as the current release is the lead man of the band himself, Mr. Martin Missy. Martin, how are you, man?
Thank you. I'm doing fine as you can do when you have to go up at 5:30 in the morning to go to work. But and now we have like 6 o'clock in the evening here. But otherwise, everything's fine here. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, Martin, everything is better here now that we've heard this new release, Excessive Outburst of Depravity. What a sledgehammer to the face, man. This thing is so great.
Thank you. It has always been like... when I have recorded songs and released album, I always, of course, a good. Otherwise, I wouldn't have released albums. But this time, I felt we had something special going on. That we had created something more, even better than earlier, and as far as the fans and the journalists, the reactions from them have been coming in, it looks like that I was right.
Sure, yeah. Certainly, man. Well, I want to go backwards a little bit, Martin, just to 2019, because you guys did, you talk about putting out a great record. Summon the Hordes was fantastic record, and I think the new one is probably, if you put the two together, that's just like an hour and a half of just getting slammed in the head. I mean, it's really a 1-2 punch of great records. But that record, Summon the Hordes, it came out, unfortunately for you guys, it came out right before the pandemic hit, to where I think a lot of people missed it. So talk a little bit about that, man. Do you feel like that was like a lost record for you guys? And do you feel like Excessive Outburst gives you a chance not only to do new music, but also to remind people that you did do this album in 2019?
Maybe. I never really reflected on that. Actually, the Summon the Hordes came out just before the pandemic, and that it maybe can have been a little bit in the shadow of that pandemic. And that we know that, okay, the pandemic is still going on, but it's at least here in Europe, it's not as lethal anymore as it was in the beginning. And so everything has come back a little bit more to normal with concerts and stuff and everything. So I think now is a better time maybe for releasing an album, so that maybe adds to the whole thing as well, that we are releasing this album now. But I don't know. I think Summon the Hordes also got some good reactions, but it feels a little bit that the reactions to the new album are even more and more positive. So it's difficult to say. Maybe we have to wait a couple of months and then compare how were, so to say.
Right. Sure. Well, Martin, excessive outburst of depravity is it's just so ferocious, and I don't know what you would call it necessarily. And really, this has been the whole thing with Protector since you guys have been a band, since the '80s. Really, you're more than thrash. You're not quite death metal. You fall in between that range, which I think personally is actually better than worse, because you don't lose yourself to the extremist stuff. People that like death metal can like Protector. People that love thrash will love Protector. For you in this day and age, do you look at it and try to find a place to fit, or at this point, after doing it for so many years, are you just like, this is what we do and that's it?
We have to go back to the beginning, because I remember when Michael Hasse and Hansi Müller formed the band in 1986, the goal in the beginning, at least the first years, was, as it was back then, they wanted to be the hardest, fastest, most brutal band in the world, and so they started with the demo as well, and maybe also Misanthropy. But then I think we settled that we came into this thrash metal always with a touch of death, maybe a little black, but mostly death metal mixed into it. And when I had the band, Olli, the guy who sang in the band after me, was a big death metal fan. So Shedding of Skin and The Heritage became even more death metal. And now that I'm back in the band again, we are settling for thrash metal again. So, but always, as you say, with some harder elements, we don't want to make, I don't know, grindcore or extreme death metal. That's just not, for us, it feels most easiest. For us, just kind of expressing ourselves is thrash metal. Hard thrash metal, like the old way. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Martin, right now, at least here in the States, and I'm assuming it's like this all over the world, the sound from the 80s and 90s is making a comeback. It's almost like a very nostalgic time where people are loving that sound once again. Does that help a band like Protector that was largely had a larger underground following? Does that help you get found now, or help you, like, people are just looking up thrash metal from the 80s or thrash metal from the 90s on Google and your name comes up? Have you seen a spike of people finding the band because of the nostalgia being so popular right now?
I think you are right that it has increased in the past years. Definitely, that it wasn't as much when we started, like with Martin Missy and the Protectors in 2006. But it has, I think, it has increased. It's not like super many, but much more than a couple of years ago. Yes. Exactly. I think so too. I think there's a big interest in the music I grew up with in the 80s. And that's cool. It's amazing that young people suddenly discover old school sounds. Even young bands start playing music like it sounds like it was done in the 80s, and I think it's amazing. It's great.
Sure. Are you surprised when you guys play a show, or when somebody buys your release and then you find out it's like a 15-year-old kid? Because obviously you and I both were in our late 20s probably. So, are you surprised when the younger kids are really finding you and are into your music?
Yes, in a way, of course, because when Protector was under the radar, really under the radar, in the end of the 90s, and then even wasn't even playing anymore in the beginning of the millennium. I never thought anybody would be interested in Protector again. Then came the internet. I remember I did a homepage a long time ago, before Facebook and stuff, for Protector, and already then there were some people saying, "Oh, cool," and stuff like that. And but this today is it's getting more and more, both old and new fans. And also it's great when a kid, I saw a picture with a kid with a Protector t-shirt on. It's a couple of years ago now, but he couldn't have been older than like 12 or something, and that's that feels great that the next generation is also listening to our music. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, Martin, talking about the new release, talking about Excessive Outburst of Depravity, the one thing I did read that I found very interesting was that you just kind of write riffs and then you put them together to find songs. You don't like come up with a song concept as much as you just kind of write a bunch of riffs and see how they all fit together. Is that natural for you, or is that how you've progressed over time? It just seems like an odder way to do it than just writing. You know, most people, they at least have like a song concept that they write, instead of just, well, we'll take this riff and then we'll put it with that riff and we'll see how it mixes.
It's I think it's a mixture of both. When our bass player writes a lot of riffs as well, and he often calls the whole song. He writes the riffs, he puts them together, and then he comes into the rehearsal room and has almost a whole song ready. Then you can start working it out. We do something here or take away a little bit here. But I think when Micke writes, I'm not sure. I think our guitarist, I think he comes with riffs. Sometimes he comes with some riffs, has some riffs, and they put them all together in the rehearsal room. And when I do riffs, I can't play guitar, so I have to record them on my cell phone. I sing them into the cell phone, and Kalle and Micke will have to sit. They live 500 kilometers away from me. I send them to them and have to sit with the guitar and try to listen what I was singing there and trying to make riffs out of it. But I usually also have concept for I want this riff to be in the beginning, this should be the pre-chorus, and this is the chorus, and then we repeat, and maybe to do this again. So some ideas are already there in the beginning, but it's both ways that we can come with riffs into the rehearsal room and put it together there, and sometimes we have song ideas ready then already.
Certainly, man. Well, the first song that you guys decided to let people hear before the album came out was Pandemic Misery, and it had a lyric video to it. So tell me a little bit about that song and why you guys chose to share that with people as the lead track from Excessive Outburst of Depravity.
Yeah, we talked about which one is the song. We wanted to release a song in advance, and we talked about which could be best representing this album. And in the end, it filtered out. We think it's because it's both an aggressive and a song that gets easy into your mind. So that's why we chose Pandemic Misery, the second song of the album. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Martin, why don't we take just a little break here and we'll share some of it with people. We'll let people get a taste of Protector. This is brand new stuff from Excessive Outburst of Depravity, which is out now. You should definitely buy it or listen to it or whatever you do these days. So let's check it out. This is Pandemic Misery right here on CHRIS Akin Presents. That was Pandemic Misery. That is brand new stuff from Protector. And Martin, that is just a great tune. Talk about getting hit with a sledgehammer right in the chest. Wow. Good stuff, man.
I'm glad you like it. Yes.
It's certainly good, man. Well, Martin, I got to tell you, man, another thing that I read, and I was reading a lot, getting ready for this interview. I read that you said that you guys are never, ever going to play outside of Europe. And that is that I understand, but at the same time, as an American fan, that is very frustrating. So talk a little bit about that, man. Is that just simply a financial thing, or what is it that has led you to decide that you're just going to play shows in Europe?
It's a personal thing. I wrote about it in one of the songs actually on the album, Claustrophobia. It's a kind of claustrophobia. I feel like when I get into small rooms and the doors are locked, and especially in a plane where you just can't open the door whenever you want. And I'm going out. I'm leaving now. So see you later. That, I don't know. It sets in in my mind. I get like panic attacks and all this stuff and shit. And so that's the reason why I haven't flown for like ages.
Sure.
I don't know where it comes from, because in the beginning of the 90s, I was twice in the US, actually. Visited the western states, or the middle, like Wyoming and Montana and like that.
Okay.
But I don't know where it comes from. I'm uncertain. All of a sudden, when I was flying, it was really horrible. And it's sad, because it would be really awesome to come to the States or Asia or South America, stuff like that, and not just only playing in Europe all the time.
Sure. Well, yeah, the interesting thing, I lived in Korea for a couple of years when I was in the military, and I took that flight back and forth, as well as going to Australia and Europe, and I went to a lot of places, and I can understand if you're not completely comfortable being on a plane. Sitting on a plane for 9, 10, 12 hours would just be torture. So I get it.
It's sad. It's really sad, but hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully one day that I can just try it anyway. Well, we will see.
Sure.
Have to book a lot of gigs, so it makes the whole thing worthwhile, and try it anyway. So we will see. I maybe you should never say never.
Right. Certainly, man. Well, Martin, one thing for people that are listening to Excessive Outburst of Depravity, if they dig into the lyrics, I mean, you guys write some really vicious stuff about real world issues. And obviously the real world is quite the fucked up place right now. I think we can all agree on that. Maybe like isn't the right word, but do you use your music as a place to kind of share your views on what's going on in the world, and why it's not working?
I have to admit that it's our bass player Matthias and me who are writing the lyrics.
Okay.
And I am more of a storyteller. I write like historical themes, like Last Stand Hill or Referat 4B4 and stuff like that. While Matte is the one who is taking up the social problems and stuff like that, like dictatorship. He writes in one song, working, hard work and stuff, labor and stuff like that. So it's Matte who's taking more these social elements into the lyrics, while I am more, I don't know, do you know the Brothers Grimm? the Grimm brothers, who wrote a lot of fairy tales and stuff like that. Yeah, and I'm more of that guy. So
okay, definitely. So do you read a lot? Is that where you get it from? Is that you're like a big reader, and it helps you develop stories in your head?
That's right. I have a lot of books, and especially like this Open Skies and Endless Seas. I had the idea already a long time ago when I read a book by Frans G. Bengtsson. It's called, in Swedish, it's called The Red Snake. It's about a Viking. It's like this thick book. I think it exists in English as well. I think it's called The Longboats. It's a real good book.
Okay.
I recommend it, and stuff like that. It gets your imagination going, and then I often also get the feeling that I want to write some lyrics about it. And so that is books, definitely, movies sometimes as well. So not and sometimes also, of course, yes, real life, like in Referat 4b4, which is about the Holocaust. Sometimes it gets to me as well, the real life, but usually it's more like from books and stuff like that. Yeah, comics. Sure. It can be comics as well. So yeah.
Sure. Have you ever considered, or have you written any books? Because, you know, if you're creative enough to create characters and to create a story, like I write books. I've written 6 books, but they're all nonfiction. They're all like real life stuff. So if I was to try to write a fiction book, I would struggle mightily, because I don't know that I could develop characters, and I don't know that I think far enough out to develop a story in a world and fit my characters in the world. There's a definite skill to that. You do that in your lyrics. Have you ever considered going the other way and trying to write a long form book, or would you consider that?
Actually, I never thought about it. But it would be a really interesting idea. I mean, I love reading, or in the past years, it's been more listening to books about my favorite themes are science fiction and fantasy and stuff like that. So that would be really interesting to write like science fiction story. The difficult thing is to really come up with a story that hasn't been written before. So you like copy Isaac Asimov or I don't know, the Star Wars theme or something like that.
Sure.
So, but sure, it would be interesting. But I can imagine, and you must know that probably, it's quite some hard work, like putting all this stuff together in and getting all the how do you say the ends together, like all the characters, and so you don't make any mistakes, like, no, he didn't do that in the earlier chapter and stuff like that. So you have to have this time plan and everything. So it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the hardest part about writing books, and I mean, I'm a failed musician. I was a bad drummer, and I just didn't have the skill to do it. But and that's kind of where I started writing a little bit more long form and writing books. And I think the difference is when you write a song, not that it's immediate. Sometimes songs take a long time too, but it's more immediate than writing a book. You can write a song, and at least within a week or two, you sort of have a conclusion. When you're writing a book, you can write for 6 months and be still at the beginning. It really it's a grind to write a book. It really is. But
yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. So great. I really think it's cool that you have done so.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Well, Martin, obviously, man, the world is very different. The music world is very different from when you guys started, from way back in the day when Protector first was a band. I mean, everything's different. The way people listen to music, the way you make money from music, all of it is different. So I'm curious at this point for you, what does it take for you and the band to find an album like Excessive Outburst of Depravity to be a success? Is it just the accomplishment of completing it and being happy with it, or Is there a certain number of sales before you feel like it's a success? What is it for you where you'll go back a year from now and look at it and say, okay, that was worth the time and the effort to do?
For me, and also for my band colleagues, I am definitely sure it's always the fans. Always, if we can make our fans, or most of them, because you never can make everybody happy, but if we can make most of our fans saying, awesome that you released this album, it was a great album, great songs, it fits very well into the Protector history, then I'm happy, because we are not such a big band and will never be that we can earn like super much money and live on it.
Right.
Everybody of us has a job which we go to. I work at a hospital. Micke is a car mechanic. Matt is working at a fish factory, and Kalle is driving trash, like a car who takes up trash and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have the jobs. Micke has now also become a father. I have been a father for like 10 years. We have families. Of course, it would be interesting, like getting super famous and stuff like that. But I don't know if I really would like to go on tours for a whole year, never seeing your home city and your family and your friends and stuff like that. So I think this is the better way, where you can still play some gigs, release some records, hopefully that the fans like it. And just to answer your question again, yes, if the fans like it, if I can look back and think that we have made a good work for Protector, for our fans, then I'm happy.
Certainly, man. Well, you've definitely made one fan happy, that being me, because I love this record, Excessive Outburst of Depravity. Right. It is out now. It is absolutely a fantastic release. And Martin, for people that want to keep up with the band or find out, what you guys are doing or buy the record and all that, where should we tell people to go online to do that stuff?
To be honest, we don't have an own homepage, but we are very active on Facebook. We have a group there. We have a page for the band where we post regularly what is going on, if we play gigs or if we really have something releases going on. And buying the music. You go always to High Roller or the people they have in different countries maybe who work with them. And then we also, since a year back, we have a value merch where you can buy T-shirts and stuff. It's also on that homepage on Facebook, where you can find the address and stuff like that. So Facebook is pretty much, at the moment at least, the point where we have most of the information and stuff like about us.
Excellent. Well, one more time, the name of the album is Excessive Outburst of Depravity. It is Protector. And Martin, I want to thank you so much for joining me here on CHRIS Akin Presents.
Thank you for having me. Always great to talk to people from all over the world and fans, and great that you like. Thank you for that you like our album.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The Sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.